Talk to Elisabeth Kendall about this now, Senior Research Fellow at Oxford University, a specialist on the Yemen war in London for us. Hi, Elisabeth. Is there anything salvageable here? Is it worth clinging on to a ceasefire, which actually we've said from the very start was fragile?
Definitely, it's worth clinging on to this, and that is exactly what the UN is doing. It was always ambitious. Stockholm produced greater results than I think anyone dared hope for, and it was going to be difficult. Yes, the timelines have slipped. Yes, it does look like it's not succeeding, perhaps not exactly failing. And yes, there have been hundreds of violations of the Hudaida ceasefire. But nonetheless, we're in a better position than we might have been. The choice is really quite stark. It's, do we try to cling on to a ceasefire that's imperfect, that has numerous violations, or do we just drop it and allow all-out war to take over in and around Hudaida, which would lead to the starvation of millions of people? It has to be the former.
But what about the fact that the man that the UN put in charge of monitoring the ceasefire has left the position? Clearly, I mean, he was attacked himself in the past few days. It was dangerous for him, but is there anyone to step into that breach, or does it fall to Martin Griffiths again, the Special Envoy for Yemen?
Well, there is already someone put forward to step into that breach. But the United Nations is, of course, putting a brave face on it. They're saying that it was always this Dutch general's plan to stay for a short amount of time, to get things started, and then someone else would come and take over, and the 75 monitors would come in, and the ceasefire would hopefully get into place. So they're trying to put a brave face on it, but you're right, it doesn't look good, and it's one of many, many challenges that the United Nations has faced and will surely continue to face. The sad thing is that actually directly after the Stockholm Agreement, things were looking pretty good and aid flows were improving. Now they look like they're stalling again, and meanwhile we have 24 million Yemenis in need of assistance still, 10 million on the brink of starvation. We have to hope that this ceasefire can go ahead and that the Stockholm Agreement can work.
Right, so what needs to be done now? Who steps in? How do they step in to salvage, as we say, what is left and not lose, as you've described, the progress that has been made?
What needs to happen is that everyone must focus on the positives. There is still a political will to make the Stockholm Agreement work, to make the ceasefire work, to redeploy troops. The international will is there. We saw that in the 9th of January United Nations Security Council briefings. We've seen it in the United States Congress. We've seen it in the European Union meetings recently. We've seen it at a recent conference in Germany, specifically designed to look at Yemen solutions. So the international will is there. The pressure has to be on keeping those in leadership positions in the two main warring sides focused on coming together for a solution and not letting the spoilers, those who are getting rich on the back of the war, win through and allow the ceasefire to fail.
Elisabeth Kendall, it's always a pleasure talking to you, even on such a sad topic to go through, but thank you for your expertise. We do appreciate it.